Hello gamers and welcome aboard. In this video we're going to be taking a close look at Cosmic Patrol by Catalyst Game Labs. For those of you who are not new to my channel, you'll know that some years ago I did make a quick review of the free RPG Day QuickStart rules. You can click on the little video on the bottom left of the corner to check that out. Also, I have included a link below so that you can download it from DriveThruRPG. In this video, we will be including character creation and basic rules so that you can watch this video, create a character, and then jump right into the fray. Cosmic Patrol is set in a sci-fi golden age, not unlike Star Trek or Lost in Space. We used to believe that Mars and Venus were both incapable of harboring life. Not only were we wrong, but we've discovered that life is nowhere near as rare in our solar system and abroad as we once thought. Life in various forms can be found on the Moon, as well as Neptune, which, as it turns out, is not a gas giant, but rather a vast jungle planet with a thick atmosphere. And even within the mostly vacuumous Kepler belt region, we find life. Although life abounds, they're not all friendly. We have, however, managed to secure a military and economic alliance with both the inhabitants of Mars and Venus to form the Great Order, not unlike the Federation in Star Trek. You, or rather your characters, are part of that military, which is known as the Cosmic Patrol. Character creation consists of some very basic parts. These are the stats, cues and disposition, health and armor, and finally, weapons and equipment. To begin making a character, as with any other role-playing game, you need to start thinking about yourself in this world or in this setting. Space, in this case. Who are you? Are you a mighty Martian warrior? A scientist from Venus? The Venetians? Are you an ambassador from Earth? Maybe a robot? Or whatever. If need be, contact your game master and run any questions through them, as they may prefer everyone be from those core planets or just from Earth. Who knows? The races in the game don't really matter mechanically, although it can come into play while you are building your character. For example, the Martians are large, and they are strong, and the Venetians are kind of frail, and they tend to stick with science. In this game, the character stats are broken down into brawn, brains, charisma, and combat. These stats are represented by assigning dice to each of them. You begin with 1d6, 2d8s, and 1d10. After you have assigned these dice, you do have the option of changing some things around if you wish. In particular, you can change the d10 to a d12. But if you do this, the d6 must then be changed to a d4. Your special is automatically a d10 and correlates to something that you're good at. For example, if you're playing an explosives technician, it could be defusing bombs. Finally, we come to luck. Roll a d12 or arbitrarily select a number between 1 and 12 and place that value in the box. If at any time your stat, special, or combat dice roll that number, you automatically succeed in a big way. The cues and disposition section works in a very similar manner to Fate, if you're familiar with it. These are simply sentences that define your character, such as, I laugh in the face of danger, or perhaps, shoot first, ask questions later, with the disposition being more of a personality trait, such as hot-headed or drunkard. The health and armor. Health is a little bit more complicated, so I'll try to go into it slowly. It depends entirely on the brawn that you have selected. If your brawn die is either a D12 or a D8. Don't mark off any of the health pips. If it is a D8, mark off 1 from the first row. For a D6, mark off 1 from the first row and 1 from the second. Finally, if it is a D4, mark off 2 from the top row and 1 from the second. As you collect damage, you will begin to suffer negative modifiers to your rolls and mark off your little pips. Eventually, you will fall unconscious and then die. The armor. Everybody starts with 10, plus the sum of your brawn and combat dies. Finally, the weapons come in a few different forms and range. Pistols and daggers, things that are small, normal type weapons, do 2 points of damage. Larger, heavier weapons, like a rifle, do 4. Very large or very powerful weapons, like a cannon, do 6. Melee weapons are okay at close range. That is, they do their amount. -3 modifier at near range. So you're not quite within arm's reach, but you're not very far away. And then utterly useless at far range, because you can't reach there. Pistols are okay at close and near, but take a -3 to far off. And finally, rifles are okay at all 3 ranges. However, if they are too close, you'll find it hard to aim a rifle at them. Characters can only carry 2 weapons, and I certainly recommend a rifle and a pistol. Although, if you wanted, 2 pistols would be perfectly fine. At this point, you should have the character mechanically built. The only thing left is to finish flushing them out with additional cues and dispositions. The mechanics of Cosmic Patrol are very, very simple. It boils down to the core mechanics. The first being for tests and challenges, that is a D12 plus the correlating stat die, special die, or combat die, plus or minus any modifiers, versus a D20 rolled by the lead narrator and or game master. The second is combat, which is your combat die plus or minus modifiers versus opposing combat die plus and minus modifiers. Whoever gets higher is the one that hits. From a lead narrator's viewpoint, it really doesn't get any more simple than that. It is wonderful and very quick. Turn order is determined however you'd like, but the game suggests everyone simply rolling a d20 and going from highest to lowest. Besides the dice rolls, the only other items to be concerned with is what the game calls plot points. Like fate points, these can be used to heal a pip of damage, maybe repair some armor, modify the turn order, so you would spend this point and say, hey, I need to go first. Change what's happening by pointing out something that's in your character's queue and disposition that may be relevant. Really, they can be used in any way you, the player, chooses, as long as you can convince the narrator that it is possible or would make an interesting plot twist. Players begin play with 3 plot points, but can be awarded extra for good role-playing, up to a limit of 5. At the beginning of a turn, players with 0 plot points automatically receive 1. The narrator also has plot points that they can use in the same basic way. However, they are not allowed to use it to directly benefit or hinder a character. So it's mostly plot points and benefiting and harming NPCs. Unlike them, they do not receive extras, nor do they have a limit. They have their 1, and then as characters spend theirs, they get those. So you are limited by how many your players have chosen.